Alright, in this video I will show you how to analyze your Facebook ads so that you can use the data to inform your next ideation, your next ads, and make sure that you only increase your hit rate, your winning ads that help you scale your brand. We do this process for over 400 ads every single month for all the brands that we work with, and those have been really generating a lot of strong iterations and ideas. So you can be sure this is proven, and let me just quickly show you how you want to go about the analysis. So first of all, you want to go into your testing campaign or your testing and scaling campaign, however you structure it, and there you will have your ad tests, right? And you'll already have some ads that are being tested right now and others that you already tested and that spent enough, and now you want to make a judgment. So basically, the way you want to look at it is, first of all, like obviously first thing we check is always like the ad spend, right? The more ad spend something has, the more it resonated, especially if you run it in a CBO, and in an ABO you will have the ad spend just like set by the ad set budget, and then add the overall performance in ROAS. Now don't be surprised here, this brand runs with a target of 0.7 ROAS, so this actually looks quite good, and especially like here these ads at 0.9 are great, and we're actually scaling them. You can see the budgets here. So now when you go and you actually want to know, okay, what should I do next? What should I learn from my tests, and what should I iterate? The way you want to do this is, first of all, you want to set up the metrics that you need for that. And this is all about the column setup. So you can actually see how I set up these columns, and those are really important. Basically, the columns are set up to follow exactly the microchain action that the customer, or like that the lead, that the prospect takes from they don't know you to they purchase from you and are a customer. You can see, first of all, they get hooked. So here we have the hook rate. Of course, this only applies for video ads, but for video ads, you want to set this up. Basically, the definition, how to create it, is the 3-second video plays divided by impressions in percent. So you can basically just go into the customize columns and then go to custom and then create a custom metric, and then you can set it up and call it hook rate. So here you would have 3-second video play divided by impressions. Then you can call it hook rate, set the percentage and so on. So here I already have set it up, so I won't do this, but this is what you want to set up. The next thing is the video average playtime. This will give you valuable information about, well, how long did a person actually watch the video? Because first of all, they get hooked, then they watch the video, right? While watching the video, or after watching it to the end, they click on it. And this is the unique outbound click-through rate. We use here unique outbound click-through rate because unique means a count if the same person clicks twice, but we just count like every single person as one. And then outbound means they don't click on the ad because they are liking or commenting, but just to get to like outbound to your landing page or to your product page. All right, then we counted the total outbound clicks and then the cost per outbound click. So you can see like these 3 columns are kind of like a set, right? You first have the percentage, then the total amount, and the cost that results from it. Then landing page, right? After someone clicks, they get to see your landing page. So here we have landing page views and cost per landing page view. After that, after going through your landing page, they should add to cart. So we have add to carts and cost per add to cart. Then we have checkouts initiated, cost per checkout. Okay, purchases, purchase conversion value, cost per purchase. So you can see those steps like that a customer takes from seeing your ad to actually becoming a customer. Okay, these are some custom metrics for this brand. Just ignore it. They are actually like, it's not about wish lists, but it's about redirection to Amazon. You can just ignore this. So here we have the rows then, right? The way you want to analyze this is basically you want to understand from your tests, from your winning ads, from your losing ads, where the exact bottleneck is. So these, like obviously like here during the last 30 days, this is clearly the biggest winner, right? It spent the most. Of course, we have here like 0.9 ROAS. Here we have actually a bit higher ROAS, 0.95, and this is why this by now has a bigger budget. This might actually outperform this one. But what we want to do now is to understand, okay, where's actually the bottleneck of this and how can we improve it, right? So let's see. Here we can see the hook rate doesn't exist. So it's a static ad. Let me just quickly confirm. Yeah, it's a static ad. I don't know why it shows here an average video playtime for a static ad. That doesn't make any sense. So the only thing for static ads that we have here is the unique outbound click-through rate. And you can already see, okay, in comparison to the other ones, this is relatively good. Like here we have a 1% click-through rate, 1.23. Some are higher, some are lower, but they are among the higher range, and this is why they're actually winning, right? But at the same time, we can wonder now, okay, if it's a static ad, we don't have that much data other than the click-through rate, but we can open this and wonder, okay, why is the click-through rate what it is? Why is it, for example, not higher? Let's take this as an example. Here we have the split tests, right? 3 different versions, and we can actually see, okay, this gives you interesting new information, because here we can see, okay, the amount spent went most to this version. The way we structure this and the way I recommend structuring it also when you test ads is also like to have split testing versions of ads. So you don't just test some random ideas that you put into an ad set, but let's say like this one is a bundle offer. So you just want to like create 3 different versions of the bundle offer, right? So here we say still paying $500 for pump outs. Here we say septic owners, stop flushing money down the toilet, right? And here a third message. So this is the way we structure it. And now you can already see, okay, what do we learn from this test? So most of the ad spend went to this ad. So this is resonating the most. So when we look into this, we see people don't want to pay a lot of money for pump outs, right? And this is the main desire, the main driver of sales. The other ones have their own benefits that we are testing here, but this one is the strongest. By the way, don't get confused by this data. You might say, hey, but wait, actually, this one has the highest click-through rate. Well, yeah, but you have to consider that this one spent like 4 times more. And this is the important thing. Like if we were about to increase the budget to like the same as here, this click-through rate would be definitely lower, because you have to understand that the more people get to see the same ad, the less people it will resonate with, right? For example, if you call out, let's say your name is Jimmy, and then you see an ad that says, hey Jimmy, we will run your ads and scale your brand to 10 million per month. You will probably click on it, right? Because it's like, how the heck do they know my name? But if we scale this ad, how many people are actually called Jimmy that run an e-com brand and want to scale to 10 million per month? Probably not many. So the click-through rate will drop. And this is the exact same logic here, right? So this tells you already, if you structure a split test like this, and I highly recommend it, that, hey, this ad, this like desire, this pain avoidance of paying a lot for pump outs is what is driving the sales. And you know, okay, based on this, like those are really strong learnings, because based on this you can now go and say, okay, let's make a video that has this exact stop paying $500 for pump outs, here's a better solution, and then you go into your script, right? That would work and scale really, really likely, because, well, it's proven, very straightforward. Also, you can just look at this and think, okay, how can we actually improve the click-through rate here, right? Should we maybe change the background? Should we maybe add or take away something? You just like kind of want to understand how the customer journey is. Like they get hooked, and then they look, okay, what is it exactly? And they go through the copy. We know already this works best, but then you might think, okay, maybe we can rephrase it somehow. Maybe we can make it like more concise so that it appeals more. And the way we use this is basically like the next tests could be something like this, but with a different background. Something like this, like for example, instead of still paying, we say you don't need to pay $500 for pump outs or something like that, right? So we know it's supposed to be about this, but now we can iterate the headline, we can iterate the background, we can iterate the ad format. For example, make a video out of the static. And this is how you can like analyze your Facebook ads, like your static ads at least, and inform the next decisions, right? Now this is an example with a winner. Now let's look at a loser, and let's look at a video ad actually. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean it's not a loser, it's close to the target, but still it spends definitely less than the rest, and it's kind of lower than the target. So here, what do we see here? Here, first of all, we see people need to get hooked to watch the video and click on it and buy, right? So here we see what's the hook rate, 27%. That's already telling us we can make this ad stronger by iterating the hook, because we go at least for a hook rate of like 30%. 40, 50, 60% are amazing. You just want to make sure it's not clickbait, but it's actually relevant to your audience, right? So we want to make sure that this is like higher, let's say 40%, then more people will watch the video, more people will watch it to the end, more people will click, more people will buy. Very simple logic. You already know, okay, the bottleneck is kind of the hook rate. The hold rate is also like, it should be at least like 10%. Of course, more people will watch it to the end if more people get hooked. By the way, the hold rate I didn't explain before, but this is a custom metric just like the hook rate. You want to set it up. It's video through plays divided by impressions. So who watched the video to the end, right? So you see, okay, these two things are a problem. But now when you're iterating this, you don't want to just like try to change the whole ad. Don't change just the hook and the body and everything, because then like it's very likely that you will just get away from what's kind of working. Change just the hook and try to evolve it into something that has a stronger hook rate. And then if you get it to a hook rate of like 40%, then you can work on the hold rate. So first of all, let's look at how we can like look and learn from the hook. We can see, okay, this one has a hook rate of like 41%, which is amazing, but it didn't get much spent, right? This one gets the most spent. And again, don't get confused. This is the same logic as the Jimmy buy my stuff ad. This might appeal like a lot to some people, but it's not scalable, and this is why it didn't get the most spent. So just ignore this. We look at this one, right? This is the hook. Okay, so this is exactly already something that basically that I just talked about, right? Because this is a newer ad than the one before. Here it says, why spend 15,000 on a new septic system when you could fix it for under $60? So this is already the angle that's proven, and now we take it into a video. But we can see that the hook rate is kind of low. Okay, so you can see this was basically the hook, and we can kind of see what the problem is with this. So first of all, actually this is kind of cut off in this format. In the story format it would be fine, but here this is actually something to fix. So this is pretty obvious, but like apart from that, the hook is just like not much is going on, right? You can see the product, you can see the headline, but the way you wanna improve this, for example, we don't have a lot of movement. We don't have here, like, actually, if we think about it, what can we improve? We don't really have the desired outcome here, or the problem state. Those are usually really hooky. If we want to target someone who's problem aware, then we want to show the problem. If we want to target someone who's product aware, we could actually already show the product, like here, or like solution aware, we want to show the resolved state, basically the desired state. So depending on the awareness level, we want to show different things in hooks, but you can definitely do something more crazy with this, right? So for example, you could take this thing and just smash it with a hammer, and then we say, why would you spend this if you can fix it for $60? And then you smash it with a hammer, which is kind of random, but the text hook still targets, and like it's something viral, and then people are like, what's the solution? You just smash it with a hammer or what? And then put the powder into it. Like that creates this weird curiosity gap, which is still relevant to the product. It hooks in the right people, but then the ad continues actually to be like normal. You just swap out the hook, right? And this will definitely get you to a higher hook rate, hook in more people, and that alone will maybe already like lead to a higher video retention, like at least maybe 10%, because people are curious what actually this trick is to save money. Or if not, then the next step would be, okay, let's look at the video and let's look where the drop off is. So here you can see 4 seconds is right after the hook. So yeah, we basically need to change the hook, and also the next clip after that. That would be already the next step. So the first thing would be like what you learn from this is, okay, let's just launch a version of it. Same video, 3 different hooks that are more viral, so that we can increase the hook rate. Then the next step would be to analyze, okay, where do we actually lose most people, and then what's going on there. So here we can see, okay, after 4 seconds, let's say we actually want to make an iteration where we iterate the body and not the hook. So we play it. You see, you just have like different people walking here being shown. Okay, this is all relevant. Here's where people watch. Here's kind of where people drop off. Okay, so it's actually very simple. This is quite unrelated to the product, so we could just cut this out and cut in something that like holds more attention, that's more relevant to the product, and that gives more information, right? And this is how like you can analyze it. You might like swap this clip out, and then in the next iteration see, okay, now my video retention is like 8%, let's say. People watch until like second 8 or 9, and then you go ahead to that point and look again, okay, what's wrong here? Why do people drop off? And then you can inform your next ad, like your next idea based on that, and you just swap out those clips. And this is how you can like build your ultimate winning ad. But just keep working on it, keep improving it, keep making stronger versions of it, and don't just iterate a winning ad once, or like something that is almost winning, like this one, right? It has rows that's on average almost winning, 0.7. This version is actually winning. So just go ahead and iterate it as much as possible, like infinitely, basically so much so that you like will look at it and you're just like, I have no clue what I can improve about it. And then what you have to do is to go and learn from other people that are ahead of you, so you actually like become aware of what you can further improve. And this is how you analyze video ads. And then of course you might also find that the click-through rate is lower than on other video ads. If that's the case, then you just want to go ahead and think, okay, like towards the CTA, what's going on towards the CTA? Like here the click-through rate is actually fine, but let's say it would be low, like 0.7% or something. Then you want to go ahead and look at the CTA and think, okay, like the CTA is not convincing enough to click. There's no curiosity gap from ad to landing page. You actually want to have that too. Curiosity gap from like hook to ad, but then also the ad shouldn't explain everything, but there should be a curiosity gap to the landing page, right? So maybe you need to actually reduce the explanations and just make more promises, and then on the landing page you explain more. Or you want to put a time urgent or like scarcity driven offer towards the end, right? And that will increase the click-through rate. And then the last thing that can happen on your ad side is that your AOV or conversion rate is low. So those are some columns that are actually not set up in this account. Let's jump into another account. So here we have it. Here we can see the conversion rate and the AOV, and you will find that some of your tests, some of your batches, some of your ads, they have a much lower conversion rate than the others. And in this case, you also want to just think, okay, why? Usually if the conversion rate is lower than like on the other ads, this means that the congruency, like what people expect based on the ads versus what they actually get to see on the product page, is less aligned than on your other ads. And if that is a bottleneck, like if the video hook is great, if the video hold is great, if the click-through rate is great, but you still have a low ROAS, it's very likely that the problem is actually here, the conversion rate or the AOV. Like it literally can only be one of those two, or like higher than usual CPM, but that's rather less common. So it literally can only be conversion rate after they after they get to your website, or AOV being lower than usual. If it's bad after that, you can see actually this is flipped. Very interesting. So this one ad like both got just 2 purchases, so they are still being tested. But like this one got a 2.4 conversion rate on higher AOV, this one a higher conversion rate and lower AOV. So now the logic behind this is okay, and funnily enough they have the exact same performance. Okay, but anyway, so the logic behind this is that, hey, okay, this is pretty much what they expected after the ad, so they bought, but the AOV is low, so either it didn't build like enough confidence to buy a lot of things, a lot of products, but they just want to like test it first, right? And this one, the congruency between ad and landing page was less, like was a bit off, but people that wanted to buy are actually confident to buy for a higher AOV, for a higher price. Of course, you can't really tell that just based on 2 purchases, that's not enough. Like here we have some better data, 70 purchases, 60 purchases, right? So it always depends on the context, how much you spend on it, and if the data is representable. If you have like 10 purchases, at least 10, 20, 30, the more you get, the more it's representative. Personally, I wouldn't analyze anything that's like below 10 purchases. It also depends on your AOV, right? Because for example, this brand has a high AOV product, and like here, of course, you will get less purchases for the same amount of ad spend, right? So it depends. But this is how you want to think about it and how you want to ideate your next ads. First of all, you want to identify, right, what is most performing and repackage that into other ad formats. Then you want to understand, okay, what's not performing and why is it not performing? Find the exact bottlenecks and then improve them and launch iterations of your winning ads and all of your almost winners. And if you just have a complete loser, you just want to learn, okay, you want to understand why. For example, if the hook rate and everything is terrible and super low, or that ad didn't even get any spend in a CBO, you just want to make sure, okay, to take a note that, okay, like this desire or like this ad format, this angle just doesn't resonate, and you want to build a hypothesis about why, and basically test this hypothesis in a future split test. So this is how to think about it. Now, if you don't want to get into all of these details yourself and just someone to help you with this, And to do this for you, just click the first link in the description and I can help you with that. Also check out this video where I explain how to run your ads and how to test them in the most profitable structure.